everyone. This is Luca Majno here with Frank Gregory Ford once again. This is Global News Update on TLBTV, brought to you by the Liberty Beacon Project, where we give you complete, backstage, up-to-date info as to the developments occurring in our world today. And as usual, we have a mouthful to talk to you about. Good evening, Greg. How's California?
Oh, hey, very warm, Luca.
Very muggy here.
Well, but it's not raining a torrent like where I was 3 weeks ago in Mexico. They've got 4 feet of water in the main streets. Okay, they've got a massive hurricane blowing through there.
Wow. Well, first of all, there's something that I did not cover with Greg before this show, and I got a surprise for him. I got a Gmail message, and I got to read it to you, Greg, and I'd like to read it to everybody here on Global News Update. This is the email as written, and I quote, "A word of support. This message is from Dave in Ontario, Canada. I'm a new viewer to you and Greg Ford on TLB. A vital and refreshing message you give and expose. Thank you so much and present in an admirable fashion. I am a student for many years of the geopolitical illusions in which we live that you and Greg elucidate and set the facts straight and allow us to unlearn what we have learned. I live in Ontario, about an hour outside of Ottawa in rural countryside. Having sold my medical practice a couple of years ago, the medical system too is designed and controlled by those who control everything. I appreciate your cause and encourage it all I can. Thanks for your message, your insight, your wisdom, and your broadcast." From Dave.
Yes, you're welcome, Ontario, from Greg Ford.
Well, what I thought I would do is start Snapshot exactly with this message because it fits the first meme perfectly. The first picture that we see. People are fed by the food industry, which pays no attention to health. And they're treated by the health industry, which pays no attention to food. And I'm sure Greg can weigh in on that because he's an MD, as he was in his service.
Actually, I was a naturopathic physician. You know, the group that's being systematically hunted down and killed by big pharma. All right, that's how much of a threat they are. And I just saw the article on what was the gal's name? Barb. Okay, yeah, the gal who was just killed last week. Boy, she looked like she was a real threat.
Oh, Borak.
To big pharma.
Right, Borak.
Barack, right? Okay, yeah. And by the way, you're absolutely correct. Okay. For those of you who still use margarine, okay, in your cooking and so forth, did you know that margarine was developed by the food industry to feed turkeys, okay? And funny thing happened is when they fed it to the turkeys, they all died, 100%. They died, okay? So, you know, so what did they do? They fed it to Americans, okay? They fed it to people, and that's where it made its money. It's like vaccines, you know, the MMR vaccine. They had it on 3 continents. 3 continents outlawed it, and who was crazy enough and insane enough and weak enough to allow our politicians to push it on us, okay? North America.
Yeah.
Canada's beside themselves, from what I understand. I just did a show just a few days ago in Canada, and believe me, they're up in arms about vaccine. Do you see that in America? Oh boy, no. We're jaded, we're spoiled, we're pampered, and we're led around by the nose. All right. That's what the problem is with America. What other nation on the face of the earth would tolerate the buffoonery of what we have seen the last week? Okay, the last week. All right, we've got a mouse that roared situation going on. We've got, you know, our our ex-candidate, who all of you know who I love and who I'm talking about, Hillary Clinton, who has not only not slowed down her cocaine importation into the United States through Pakistan, Pakistan, but now the Awan brothers are running wild in America. They're trying to capture the Awan brothers, who actually arranged for the BlackBerry intelligence operation, thus allowing what was it? Obama said he wanted all politicians to have BlackBerries. They issued BlackBerries, and then that gave Hillary Clinton complete intelligence control over Washington. Okay, I mean, what other country, could do this and let this lying, thieving bitch, killing, murdering bitch run around loose? All right, what kind of country allows this? You know what happened when I put my case to the Supreme Court, and Luca, you've shown the pictures of why I launched that case. Mayhem, murder, dogs tearing people to pieces, kids being raped in front of their parents. That's American policy, right? And what do we have? What do we have now? We have a weak-ass court, Supreme Court. Oh, please, give me a break, okay? Who they threw my case out so they would let a baker in Utah, the wonderful state of Utah, take his case into court for making a wedding cake for a gay couple. Gee, that's really worth it, huh, folks? Okay. So, by the way, we've got 150 people dying every single day of overdoses, brought to you on opioids out of the country that produces the most opioids on the face of the planet, and in an unstoppable fashion. Guess who? Pakistan. Okay. Pakistan working with Israel. Okay. I see something going on here. Okay. I see something really happening. Okay. Yes, we've got Hillary Clinton making 10% of all drug imports coming into the U.S. 150 people are dying a day of opioid overdose. And what's going on? We've got one of the biggest shucksters and heisters, sleazeballs, Robert Mueller. Robert Mueller is residing over the attempted impeachment of Donald Trump. Okay, that's what we've got going on. What kind of buffoonery are we tolerating here in America? All right, I would really love to know. When the CIA, Central Intelligence Agency, now has a proud history from World War II, the Nationalist Chinese, remember that, the Nationalist Chinese, running drugs, and they intentionally brought those drugs in to pay the Nationalist Chinese so they could sell drugs to Americans to support the Nationalist Chinese Army. Hooah, CIA, I mean Cocaine Importation Agency.
Right.
Right. That's what we have going on. Okay. I did a great show with Susan Lindauer, right, Luca? And I'll tell you what, it was really interesting listening to Susan Lindauer, who, what her crime was? She was informed, I want your listeners to know this. She tried to warn her family that 9/11 was about to hit New York City. She tried to warn, imagine that. Imagine loving your family and caring enough to warn them. And she also notified the UN Security Council. Okay, the UN Security Council. And for that, she was thrown into prison, basically tortured for a year. Don't believe me. Don't just think it's a bunch of whole made-up glop that you get from our politicians, okay? Go ahead, pull on her show. Go to YouTube, get her show, okay? And you're going to hear a lot more about this wonderful 9/11 incident that has led us into 2, coming up on 3 wars and 10 ground wars that are going on that you people haven't even been told about, right? So that's what I've got on my mind, Luca.
Well, before you get going on the rant, let me let me finish the snapshot that we have for today. And he could go on a rant of every single picture I have here because it's mind-boggling to me. There's this one picture of a guy sitting there in his lazy boy, eating popcorn, watching the world burn. And too bad I don't have the poem that I wrote on that for today, but I just had to share that. Our next slide about governments, and Greg touched on that. Governments are owned by corporations, run by psychopaths, lying about imaginary economy based on debt, fueled by illegal wars, destroying ecosystems, poisoning food and water, decreasing education, increasing prisons, manipulating the media, foreclosing our homes, suppressing free energy technology, making us struggle, starving, humiliating, and killing the world. Yet you stay silent, America, following I can't even talk, follow a pathological culture, pay taxes, vote, and trust your government. And then in small print underneath it says, the limit of tyrants are prescribed by the endurance of those whom they oppress. Next slide, please. It is no coincidence that the century of total war coincided with the century of central banking, i.e. the Rothschilds. Get it? Greg, you want to say something real quick on that before I change slides?
Oh, okay. What can you say about the Rothschild banks? Okay. What can you say about the Bush banks? All right. What can you say about my favorite that I've dealt with personally is the Bocce Bank? Okay, Bank of Credit and Commerce International, funding every terrorist organization on the planet, funding purchase of weapons of mass destruction that are running around loose now. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Funding all kinds of drug money laundering, cocaine money laundering. Guess who owns it, folks? The Bush family.
It's
That's
like
what I have to say about it.
It's like I can hear it in my dream. The Bush family. I'm surprised I don't have nightmares about it. Next
No,
slide.
it's actually the Bush crime family.
Right.
How many of the Bush crime family members are in prison? Okay. Any of these new super max private prisons? Okay. Wink, wink. Get, and I find out, hell, it's even the Kennedys who are the largest shareholder in the private prison industry. The Kennedys.
There you go.
What can you say about all this? All right.
Well, it goes on and on. We have a lot to expose, and this is wonderful.
And then watching this buffoonery on Charlottesville. Okay, I'm sorry. What are we seeing? Deja vu here? Something that happened back in the '60s. Okay, and guess who's doing all this assaulting, murdering, carrying on? I guess they call themselves the master race. Okay, the master race. If those Cro-Magnons are representative of the master race, we're really in some trouble, folks. All right. What happened to the Native Americans at Standing Rock? Okay, they had a bunch of white Cro-Magnon patriots in National Guard outfits, spraying with what? Nerve gas, all kinds of stuff, everything you could imagine to stop them from trying to stop a massive pollution effort. All right, a massive pollution effort. Okay, those bad old Indians. Oh yeah, hey, we should have killed some more of them, right? Okay, well there's the Indians. Okay, same thing they did in where was it? 80 years ago, Oklahoma. Okay, and then North Dakota, and now we've got Charlottesville. Okay, what can you say about this buffoonery? I mean, okay, put a stop to it. That's what we could say. But guess who's behind it, folks? If you got a dime and a cup of coffee, hey, you can call the CIA, Central Intelligence Agency Langley. All right, ask them about their policies of Black Lives Matter. Oh yeah, let's kill a few more of them. All right.
I'm hearing
who's initiating this.
I'm hearing George Soros in there too. But anyway, I did a show on guns recently, And that's also available on TLBTV, and I did it with Rebecca Mahan from the TLB project. And this next slide is really good, and it made, it kind of made me go wink, 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 like Greg would say. 115 people die each day. 1 million are hurt each year. It's time we consider a ban on cars. Vehicle ownership is not a constitutional right. Cars kill people. Something to think about.
Absolutely.
And to talk about the Rothschilds very quickly, we only have a couple left, Greg. If you can poke royalty on their chest like they're your bitch, you may be a Rothschild. And this is a very, very good example of how they do things. And I want you to take a really good look. Look at Prince Charles's face, okay? This next slide, too, is very important. It's about emotion, and it's about things that we're not comfortable with. The Aboriginal people once said that if you're afraid of the forest will be afraid of you. And what we are afraid of, we destroy. Take a look at this one. If we're not comfortable with emotion, every emotion becomes discomfort, and every uncomfortable situation becomes a threat. And that's very, very appropriate. Chances are you feel like you're in a prison. You feel like you're a slave. You feel like you're a prisoner to the system. Well, guess what? The cage door is wide open. You had the key all along. You can get out anytime you want, as this meme shows us. It's a beautiful, beautiful meme. I use it probably once a year. Speaking of good memes, activism is the rent I pay for living on this planet. Period. You are not powerless. And once America figures this out, if it's not too late, which some people say it already is, things can start to happen. Very quickly, talking about the Native Americans also, which we love to do on the show, because they were the first that were genocided. This is our turn now, but they were the first to be genocided. This is the way they thought back then, and this is why everything was in balance and everything was in complete control. Nothing was wasted. Everything was appreciated and respected. Respect all men for their worth, not for their birth. You respect people for what they do, how they act, how they think, and the actions that they do. Not by their their worth because of their social status or what their last name is. And Chief Arvil Looking Horse, you're going to love this, Greg. Chief Arvil Looking Horse once said, "Our ancestors foretold that water would someday be for sale. Back then it was so hard to believe, since water was so plentiful, so pure, so full of energy, nutrition, and spirit. Today we have to buy pure water, and even the nutritional minerals have been taken out. It's just empty liquid. Someday water will be like gold, too expensive to afford. Not everyone will have the right to drink safe water."
Well, the added topping to that, okay, has anybody priced bottled water versus gasoline at the pump? Okay, guess which is more expensive, folks? Okay, it's hard to believe, I know, but yes, that is the factor. Is bottled water is more expensive than gasoline at the pump. Okay, now is that ludicrous or what? Okay, now that's bottled purified water, because like in Oklahoma, you can't turn on your tap without having your tap blow up in your face, because they've been fracking and filling up all the tap water there. I've seen it. I know what happens. All right. Don't believe me. That's another dangerous thing you can do, is not believe either one of us. But by the way, I want to wrap things up because we're coming down to a few moments here. North Korea. What show did I tell you? Did I tell you, Luca, that the folks could watch and listen to? All right. This show to find out what was happening with North Korea. Didn't I tell everyone 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, there is not going to be a pissing contest with North Korea? We're not going to go toe to toe, with Pee Wee, okay, and his whole country full of kimchi. No, we're not going to do that. Afraid not. All right. they're standing down because that means they're more reasonable than we are. Little Pee Wee is more logical and more what's the word? Malleable to diplomacy. That means that he is more capable of diffusing a situation than Donald Trump. Okay, Donald Trump with his fire and fury campaign. Say what? I think he'll say anything as long as he doesn't have to go fight a war. Okay, that's what I think. No, we're not going to bother, with a mouse that roared. Yes, North Korea wants a bunch of goodies, and you know what's going to happen, folks, is we are going to give it to North Korea because it's your money. So what? Who cares if you don't like it? It's your money. We're going to give billions of dollars to Pee Wee. Okay, our little psychopathic Pee Wee. All right? That's what's going to happen. Yeah, he's a nutcase. Yeah, he slaughtered his uncle. Yeah, he killed his brother. Okay? Who cares? All right? The deal is that, hey, he understands what is facing him and his country right now. Okay? Does Donald Trump? I don't think so. Okay? We already warned Donald Trump on this show, didn't I? Concerning Robert Mueller and Comey and how the FBI is currently the attack dog of the Bush family.
Yeah.
And with all of this going on, everybody's more afraid of Russians possibly manipulating our election than they are about the tons of cocaine coming in, tons of opioids coming into this country, and poisoning and killing 150 people a day. That's what kind of buffoonery we have in this country. Buffoonery. All right?
Well, you know what,
circus.
Greg, let's stay on Donald Trump for a second, because I got to say this. On Facebook, I put up a picture of, I call it perfect. It's two sides of the same coin. You have two coins, and you have Donald Trump in one coin and Hillary Clinton on the other. And it says, heads, you lose.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden, not even 10 minutes later, Facebook comes up and says, why your post was removed. We removed this post because it looks like spam to us. And if you did post this and you don't believe it's spam, then you can let us know. I thought that was priceless. So,
well, what I want to know, and all this said, you know how I feel about Israel. Hey, I love the Jewish people. I love them, both Ashkenazi and Sephardic. Okay, but the thing is, all right, hey, we've got a 1,200-year-old Jew that ran for president. Okay, Bernie Sanders. All right, and then okay, there's AIPAC represented, and then we have a bloodthirsty, lying, murdering, homicidal bitch by the name of Hillary Clinton. She's killing one a week, folks. You don't think she's killing and murdering people? She's murdering one a week. Okay, and I find out, oh yeah, the whole deal is she's been number one supporter of Israel. Okay, because of L3. The L3 Corporation pays her more than anybody combined. L3 out of Israel. Okay, and I know about L3 because I was ordered, renditioned, and tortured by L3, and my government actually did it. Okay. So, gee, I've got a real fondness for Israel, right? The state of Israel, okay? And then we've got Donald Trump. Hell, his son-in-law, he walks into a room with Benjamin Netanyahu, the man who was holding a daily conversation with Larry Silverstein during 9/11, okay, looks at Trump's son and says, Jared, homie, don't you know me? I mean, hey, I never even got a welcome, into my own home from my own mother like that. Okay. So, hey, there's something really strange going on here, folks. Okay. And I've got some other information when the next show comes around. Okay. About the Chinese, running NSA. Okay.
Right.
Yes, they're running NSA. Got news for you. Yeah, they have been running NSA. And do you know who is protecting the Chinese and NSA? The Bush family. Okay. what can I say? With Israel right behind, all right? By the way, if you think the Bush family isn't behind the Chinese debacle and Chinese intelligence, sending telemetry to everyone, guess what, folks? Okay, here it is Poppy Bush, that kinder, gentler man, Poppy Bush, who would never do anything to hurt America, as in 9/11, as in Iran-Contra, okay, as in not endless nonstop wars. Okay, yeah, there we go. Poppy Bush is running the Chinese intelligence effort because he was what? He was an ambassador to China. Funny thing how this happens. And then what did he do? He went from being director of the CIA to becoming the ambassador of China. Oh, gosh, folks. All right. And if you don't believe me, as I always say, I offer all your listeners a reasonable amount of research to produce the truth. Contact somebody, go online and contact somebody named Russ Tice. Russell Tice, okay? Theis, all right? See what Russ Tice has to say about the Chinese and the North Koreans, okay? I mean, hey, there's a match made in heaven, all right? The Chinese and the North Koreans. But here, to top everything else off, guess who was actually providing the North Koreans with hardware, military hardware and expertise, and utilizing the Chinese to keep the country going? Russia, okay? Russia, all right? Now, please, mother, all the mothers call into your show, Luca, and say, no, I'm not going to have my children sacrificed and turned into fresh meat for the next war that comes along, and there's plenty already lined up to eat your children, all right? So that's what I had to say on a closing note.
Well, we appreciate everything that you are, Greg, and everything that you say and everything that you do, and we can't thank you enough for being on the show. And this is one of the proudest moments of my life, doing this stuff with you and being your co-host or interviewee or whatever.
Road dog. Road dog is what they call it.
Comrade in arms, right. So
yeah.
We'll see you next time, not on the Muppet Show, but on Global News Update. Thank you so much, Greg. We'll see you next time.
Can't wait, Luca.